into the message this morning, I want to take a moment to share with you some family news that impacts all of us. And so I want to make sure we take a moment to talk about that. I've been reflecting, kind of this is sort of the official, I guess, last like Sunday or whatever of a weekend of summer, right? And I've been kind of reflecting back over this last summer, and it has been so sweet. This summer in particular, for us as a church family to be worshiping together in one service. I mean, I've been here on staff for 26 years, and during, wow, who was that? You get a bonus. Yay, Bree. And during that time, other than maybe a couple of like opportunities for special occasions, we just have never had an opportunity to be all like together. And this summer has been sweet in doing that. At least for my heart, it's been encouraging and energizing and unifying for us to be together. And this week, every Tuesday, we have a staff meeting. On Tuesday morning, we always start with, what can we celebrate? And we were celebrating things that God has been doing. And one of those things that we were celebrating was just how God, how good it's been to be together during the summer. And as we kind of continued in that meeting, the question, as we were kind of celebrating and talking about this summer, a question came and, kind of surfaced, and that was, well, it's been so awesome, this summer to be together. Why not continue? Like, why not continue doing this for a season, right? And that was sort of the question that was sort of floated, at first it was just, frankly, for fun to go, hey, let's just talk about that. And then we began to engage in that conversation. And the first thing that kind of came to our minds was, first of all, it was just such a blessing to kind of be together. We also talked, frankly, about the reality that we've been having a hard time staffing this particular season as we move into this fall. All of the areas, the volunteer areas that we need to have 2 services every weekend. It takes a lot of people to make that happen, and specifically in our children's ministries, especially our young children's ministries. And if you were here last week, you saw a little chart up on the screen that said, all of those little spots on there are like openings, and we've been, frankly, struggling to fill all those positions. So we were talking about the reality of that, and we were also talking about the reality that at this particular point in time, we have the space to meet all together, and not only meet together, but also to even continue to grow together. And so as we began talking about all of these factors and looking at the pros and the cons and all of that, this sort of conversation began moving in a direction. And we recognized that there are challenges and there are classes that are impacted because of one service and all of that. And as we began putting all that together and thinking that through, we kind of found ourselves as a staff coming to a place of unity in a decision that said, well, why don't we continue? Why don't we continue in one service for a season because it's been so good? Now, one of the challenges that we recognize, before you get too excited here, one of the challenges that we recognize is that, in particular, for those of you who have been accustomed to coming at our 9 o'clock service, back before summer, you had to make some, significant, changes to what your Sundays look like and all that to come at 10:45. And we recognize that, and I want to thank you for your grace and your flexibility all summer long and coming, later than you normally would to church. And so as we talked about that, we said, well, let's just make a compromise. And let's if we're going to do one service together, let's make it at 10 o'clock. And that way it's maybe a little bit later than with 9 o'clock coming and a little bit earlier for 10:45. And we can compromise on that. And so as we talked that through, we really came to a place of confidence together. And so I just want to announce to you this morning that starting next Sunday, we are going to continue in one service, and it's going to be at 10 o'clock. All right? I, for one, am really excited about this. I just realized that God has afforded us an opportunity right now. Now, I don't know how long, because at some point, we're probably going to be at a place, like numbers of people in here and all that. We got to go back to 2 services, and we will do that when we get there. But right now, I feel like God has afforded us an opportunity at this unique time in history, after a couple of years of craziness in this world, that we have an opportunity to see, God, what do you want to do in my life? What do you want to do in our lives together? And to do that all together as one in one service. And so starting next Sunday, 10 o'clock, we are going to begin meeting, and we'll do that until such a time as we need a little more space in 2 services. All right? So I've said it. We will say it like 180 times this week in multiple ways, and still somebody's going to show up next week and say, you never said anything. So anyways, 10 o'clock next week, that's the plan. And I'm excited. I'm really excited because there is a different energy. There is a different connection when we are all together in one service and not split up. And so I look forward to doing that. And I also think that God's timing, of course, is perfect